It's exactly 9 o'clock in the studios of Classic 105.5 and 105.9 on the FM band. Good morning to you, Grenada, Carriacou, PD Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. To you, wherever you are on this glorious Wednesday morning, the 18th day of the month of January. And indeed, it's a pleasure being here with you for yet another edition of To The Point. And certainly we say thanks to you wherever you are. And those of you in television, GBN's Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20 if you're in cable, or you follow us via the World Wide Web at www.gbn.gd or via our Facebook page or YouTube channel. I'm Joseph Cadore, and so we say thanks for being part of today's conversation. Today, certainly, allow me to, before we go any further, to apologize for the absence of any for representative from the administration. Certainly today, Wednesday, is the day that is prescribed, allotted to them, but we haven't received any confirmation as to whom will be attending the program, and certainly we're going to proceed, as you can well imagine, with an open line platform. The number on the inside, 435-2041. Again, we want to encourage you that if you were to call, that we conduct the conversation via the telephone. I know very often folks are tempted to want to hear themselves live via whatever medium they've been following on, but it creates an unnecessary feedback that contaminates the quality of the broadcast. And as such, I would advise you just to conduct the conversation via the telephone. You too, you can feel free to submit your comments via our Facebook feed. And again, remind you, for those of you that's in Facebook, because it's often a challenge. Well, I didn't hear you give my comment, something because you make it very lengthy. What I do, I will essay it and then regurgitate it to the general public. And you feel free to do the same on the WhatsApp portal. We have a caller that's alive. Good morning, caller.
Hello, sir. Morning.
Yes, good morning, to you, sir. I'm wonderful, thank you.
There are times there are so much issue to put forward, especially when you have an open line. And so much of them sometimes get clouded, get lost in translation, as one might say too, that they are not sometimes adequately discussed. For example, there was an effort to discuss the issue that the Prime Minister made of the zero tolerance to gun violence or gun possession or illegal gun possession in this country. And that's a subject that cannot be exhausted in one sense of the word, for two reasons. Just the fact that having a gun that is illegal is a very stupid thing to do. And at the same time, the fear and danger in society over such inconsiderate people and leaving us intimidated is a terrible thing to have to live with what you might call the sword of Damascus of Damocles hanging over your head. I believe in zero tolerance for illegal gun possession. I also believe that nothing is wrong in giving, for example, farmers the privilege and opportunity to possess gun in this country in the given situation where we have so much robbers, thieves, whatever you might want to call them. I don't like the fancy word of period larceny. Thief is thief, simple. And there's a whole lot of danger in going into your own property and having to confront these kind of people and them nowadays. Now, the whole issue of licensed firearms is mainly what you'll be talking about when you're dealing with farmers and people who have legitimate business to defend in such a situation. But understand at the same time too, there are a lot of illegal guns in this country, And I've never heard of an amnesty, which is a thing that is used in some countries, and it is used to quite a bit of success. That's a fact. You have it in Jamaica, you have it in Trinidad, but Trinidad, it does not resonate very well in Trinidad. But in Jamaica, it has resonated very well. And other countries, you hear about it sometime too. But in our situation, I know there is a lot of illegal guns in this country. After the revolution, some people kept their guns. There's no question about that. But you don't hear much of gun violence in Grenada. Once in a while, you might hear of some holding up of, some thieves go to a business place or so to hold up. In Trinidad, you find people shooting one another. Most people who die in Trinidad, in a murder situation, were shot.
Okay.
And in Jamaica, to quite an extent too. In Grenada, what we find happening more than anything else, people chop up one another. So gun is not a big thing from that perspective in Grenada. But still, there are a lot of illegal guns, and the government need to do something to try to get the guys to rein in their guns. And,
okay.
In that way, we could have a lot of fear being dispersed in this country.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
4 minutes gone past Yahweh in the morning time. To the point, it's an open line. Wednesday, the number on the inside, 4, yeah? Reminder, you can also submit your comments or contribution via our Facebook page, YouTube channel, or even our WhatsApp page. The WhatsApp number, same as the on-screen or in-studio number, 435-2040. Giving you an opportunity this morning to share on issues, matters of national interest. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Good morning, Joseph, and morning to your listeners and viewers.
Good morning, Jesus.
I'm glad that the issue of the gun thing is continuing to be discussed, but I would have preferred if we heard the part where the Prime Minister on the first Beyond the Headline responding to a question I asked him addressed the issue in a broader terms in terms of crime and violence. Because he said a lot, and I'm disappointed that that didn't come part of the trending or the news. Anyway, but it is a very serious situation, and I would echo the last caller in saying there's a lot of illegal arms in Grenada, and it has little to do with the revolution as people might try to tie it. I mean, if those people who staged revolution here was as violent as some people would want to have it, we'd have chaos here. So, and that is not the case. That was not the case. We had a revolution. There was a particular, trigger for that. It failed, and people went back to the normal stuff. That is a fact. What is happening over there, though, we have a lot of society deteriorate, or I can't find the right word right now, but in the sense that we have places that there's no sense of community. Everybody is looking out for themselves. I mean, we have adopted, you talk about foreign culture. I mean, in this case, we have adopted the thing where I look out for myself alone. If I dealing with some illegal stuff, I have to protect myself. Look at the recent news about the person from St. Vincent that was apprehended or so. I mean, he's coming in here with his stuff, and he's coming to protect himself. We have learned in years gone by, there was a gun battle in St. Patrick's, where some of the same folks from St. Vincent came in and had some gunplay up there years ago. So we need to not react, to ask ourselves questions like, for instance, why do we need guns? And that's based on a philosophy that we have borrowed, that I have to protect my turf. The other thing about it, guns, the origin of guns. This is not our stuff. People of African and Indian descent and, Asia have been made basically peaceful people. The people who have introduced guns to us, you know who, I wouldn't even say. These are the people that they introduced the value of money to us. And of course, there's the next one I wouldn't create no controversy this morning about. But we need to really have a holistic approach to that. And I hope...
Allow me to ask you, sir, because I think in reality, the issue goes beyond guns. I think the issue goes to the heart of violence, because whether it be guns, in some places they use guns, some places they use cutlass, whether they use bow and arrows, or they use anything to take somebody's life, I think the issue goes beyond any specific race. I think as human beings, we've grown into a culture of violence, and that's where the gun comes in. So I wouldn't agree with you whether it's who introduced guns to who, because we may not have guns in some parts of where the continent that you're referring to, but there were other means and tools that they used to take lives just the same. So I'm putting it in this bigger context that the bigger concern here is not just the guns, but our lack of respect for human life. I think therein lies the greater problem.
And I agree with you. I mean, I will contest what you just said, but the thing about it is that guns is a choice of weapons now if you could get. I mean, your first caller said that we use cutlass and so on, and that's true, and knives and whatever. And now there may be blunt things to injure one another. But the thing about it is that who manufactures the gun? We need to ask them, and who profits from it, even now? And I'm not contesting what you say. That's why we need a broader conversation. You know, in preparing for that activity we have on the 29th, somebody said to me, you know, it have violent crime in other places, but you know what we have here? I mean, in terms of crime, we have created larceny. People stealing from people, that's a form of crime. We have cyber crime, we have all kinds of crime. And we need to put all of them together and try to see what kind of society we want. We want a society that people trick one another. Your previous presenter presented a word called hoodwink. We are hoodwinking each other.
And I think it goes back in a greater respect. And I said, while yes, I agree, it takes a holistic, but I think it's impossible to separate violence and the way we see each other. If we do not get to a point where we dehumanize each other, where we recognize that there's value to my life, to your life, and we get to the point of respecting and honoring that, then violence becomes second nature. But they said, and I'm agreeing with you, that it takes a holistic conversation that needs to be continuous. Thank you.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
435-2041, that is the number on the inside. Something that's there, that's a matter of, as they say, it's bubbling on your chest. You want to get it out. It's a matter of national interest. Certainly, we do encourage you to have that conversation. Yes, 435-2041. That is the number that is on the inside. And we say thank you for being part of the conversation in the morning time. Reminding you that as we get onto the conversation next week, as we get into beyond the headlines next week, certainly the conversation that we brought under the microscope would be the issue of gun violence, security, and our way of life as a people. Certainly the commissioner of police is going to be part of the program. So you want to start gathering your questions as to how we deal with that situation. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Cadore.
Good morning to you, sir. How may I help?
I'd like Grenadians to pop up their heads because I want to make a very powerful statement here this morning. As a common citizen of this here country with all rights, and sufficiently versatile and articulate to express what I want to say as regards to matters of national concern in this here country. And clearly an understanding, of course, that albeit GBN has a console and its infrastructure, but GBN operates on an electromagnetic spectrum which belongs to the state of Grenada, of which I am a person therein. Last Friday, I attempted to make a statement relative to a news item that came on GBN a couple of weeks ago in relation to permission, let's say alleged permission granted by a senator for certain people, members of the society, to enter a public space with marijuana trees. And I was cut off. I challenge that.
My dear sir, Mr. Romo,
I beg your pardon, sir.
And I'm not sure why you insist on going down that path. We've had that conversation already, and therein lies the problem that you assume, and while you're well within your rights, sir, you're not going to bully me or try to force and impose upon me the way that this program is conducted, sir. Any other concerns you have, I can easily suggest that you find out the appropriate channels. You called, and today you changed the story. It was alleged, proposed, and we are not going to allow the platform to be used where when persons assume that they have something on they have their own alternative agenda, and you would use the airwaves to just come and regurgitate. People are encouraged to call and objectively state their positions on issues, but I would not encourage you, sir, to try to get into this one-on-one bantering with me. I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm not going to encourage it. Participate and be part of such a conversation. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Caller.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm calling about an issue I had for over 2 years now. Okay, I called another forum. They asked me to call back, but when I called back, it didn't. The guy was not there. I'm having this issue. I live alone, but I have a small business where I rent, like the apartments. And for whatever reason, I didn't know that I was like a target in the community, but to me right now, that's how it becomes. And I'm up to my neck. The police maybe come to my house about 12 times. What the people do, they come into just my apartment, thank God. They destroy like the doors. I took off.
But without going into the details, let me ask you, this is a matter that you've brought to the attention of the police.
Yeah, but the police does nothing, sir. That's why I want the public to know what is going on.
And when you say the police does nothing,
well, they
help me to understand.
Okay, it's like the guy's not breaking open the door, but whatever they're doing and whatever method they use, the police will just come stand by the door. Sometimes they come inside, but this last time they took off my the breaker switch. They take 3 breaker switch out of my stuff. They take clothes, they take food in the refrigerator. They just take stuff.
And what has been law enforcement's response to you? What have they said to you?
Well, apparently they just keep saying that they didn't see anything. And another thing, when they would come to my place, they would stand up first and speak to the people outside, which is, I call them, not they call, And I'm saying to you, is a number of things I'm just losing. They took a bottle of my hair dye and pour it out on my mattress with me sleeping there, so it's ridiculous. And I mean, something has to be done. Though the police, because I had called Mr. Vanny Cohen and among other people, if there's something they could do, I need to get help. Today is my birthday. So, and it's ridiculous.
Well, happy birthday to you. But here's what I can suggest I can do. Because anything of that nature, I would know, obviously, it falls under the ambit of the RGPF. If you feel, if you have no problems, if you give me your name and your number, I can certainly see if I can get one of the senior ranking officers to call you to see somehow because sometimes all it takes is a change of direction, a perspective from it. Maybe instead of going from the bottom up, maybe we can channel it from the top down and see if we can render some solutions or some ease to your current situation.
Because I really need it because they're destroying.
So can you give me your name, please?
I'll give you my name. Anyway, my name is Diane.
And your telephone number? Okay, here's what I suggest then. If you call me back at the end of the program, I'll remain in the studio for a bit as soon as the program is wrapped up so that you can give me the rest of your details.
But I don't know. I thought this forum was a forum where you could actually, because you give people time.
Ma'am, but you don't understand. I'm trying to assist you. This is an issue that requires the attention of law enforcement. You are saying that you've tried and law enforcement has not been able to help you. And I understand that while we have in a public discussion, if it's a case that your rights have been violated and the police, you need assistance, I am personally willing to help you with that process. There are officers in the RGPF I'm well acquainted with that I can help see if we can get some resolve to it. So that's why I'm asking if you could either provide me your contact details now or you can send it to our WhatsApp page for the purpose of privacy.
After the thing, but I want you to also understand that this is really humiliating because some things is happening to me in my own home. People say it is sorcerers and all kind of stuff, and I know definitely sorcerers can be toting things out and doing stuff like this. Sometimes they bring back stuff which they take and all kind of thing. And you know what they're saying? I am mad. So in no time in my life, I was never insane, and I never hope to be because God is my Savior. You know, and it's ridiculous. I need some help. Okay, I'll call you back.
No problem then. Thank you. All the best to you. 425-2041, that is the number on the inside. And certainly, whatever the issues are, certainly at the other side of the program, we might be more than willing to assist you in having your problem resolved, my dear lady. 19 minutes gone past the hour. We take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back right here on To The Point.
Your life is yours. Your future's in your hands. Your body is yours. That's why you need a plan. You gotta plan your family, avoid HIV, get the education from the Grenada Planned Parenthood Association.
We offer STI screening, gender-based violence counseling, prenatal and postnatal checks, injectables, condoms, pap smears, and other sexual reproductive services. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Pointu Street, St. George's. Whether male or female, it doesn't matter. We're here to make your life better.
Grenada Planned Parenthood Association.
For appointments, call 440-3341.
It's time that we realize that we must work together to thrive. As we know it, the sky and below it. Could I never have more wonder? Yeah, with life and all you see, and the climate's changing.
But hope is remaining.
That we can't ignore the future. It depends on you and me. One chance, all that we got. One voice, together we stand. Take care. The world where we live, permite a todos vivir. Tomamos la oportunidad para guardar la humanidad. And I must leave no one behind because we are one climate, one Caribbean. One climate, one Caribbean.
Rep your colors. Hot 98 presents the 473 Colors Boat Ride. Going on Saturday, February 4. Get your tickets now at godofed.com for only $65. Food included. Boarding time 7 p.m. The boat sails at 7:30. Music on board by the Hot 98 DJs plus other guest DJs.
Baby, calm down, calm down.
Rep your colors on the boat, cause this one here is gonna be epic. Lock the date, Saturday, February 4th, Hot 98, 473 Colors Boat Ride. Don't you miss this.
22 minutes gone past the hour in the, actually more like 24 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock in the morning time. And this is To The Point for today, the 18th day of the month of January, an open line. And we do have a caller that is waiting. Good morning, caller, you're alive.
Good morning, Uncle Joe. How you do?
Wonderful, thank you.
All right. I want to say this, that I appreciate that GBN give we less fortunate people the opportunity to voice our opinion. That's the only source we have besides going to the market or someplace and say, baby. I appreciate it, and I will never, I do not appreciate people calling and insulting the moderator in any shape or form, whether Mr. Cadore, whether GT, or whoever. Because if GBN say, listen, no more because they're insulting the staff and so on. We do not have the money to pay for a spot and voice our 2 pence. Right. This has been said. I tried to get to the program yesterday to Mr. The psychology. And the thing is, yesterday was opposition day. And I keep asking, why wouldn't an elect opposition come to the program, speak to us, and let we understand the position, answer some of our questions? Sending people like this gentleman yesterday, it doesn't make no sense to us. And what he was campaigning about yesterday, unemployment. Unemployment is not a new thing to Grenada. And presently now, the unemployment rate is lower than a couple years ago. He mentioned about marketing board. Marketing board is a body that has been going down the drain for quite a number of years. The former Prime Minister said that he was going to investigate the matter, and if there is anybody found in wrongdoing, they will have to pay. So we're yet waiting. Now, we talk about people laying off. Now, Uncle Joe, you in one spot working for 15 years and up, and you on a contract. 15 years and up is in a permanent space. And the government then, the same psychology, I can't get his name now, refused. He couldn't have seen that these people need to be permanent so they can have a life, have some form of security. But today, with this government, with a few months in office, he sees that these people now unemployed. Now, if you have a company and they have contract workers, and you is in new management, new company sell over, you have a choice to rehire, to renew the contract or not. So the problem there is these people should have been employed permanently. That's one. Marketing board, I wondered in his profession what advice he have to give to the marketing board to keep the business going. Thank you, Uncle Joe.
Thank you very much. All the best to you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
27 minutes gone past the hour. Just to lend my ear, my eyes and voices, some of the comments that's coming via social media. I wanted to be first to be clear, and good morning to the team that's there on WhatsApp, Carl Thompson and others. Here at the GBN, we provide a platform, as you can well appreciate, where persons are allowed to express their views, their sentiments, matters of national interest. There's issues of facts, opinions. There is a cutoff point where sometimes you have to guard when individuals will take those opportunities to try to abuse, and in many cases, even go as far as insulting individuals. Matters are discussed, and whoever it is that is moderating the issue, they have a right to gauge the conversation. We may not always agree, or we would never, and we would disagree. But I think ultimately there must be a matter of mutual respect for each other, whether it's myself that's on the program or any other entity of the GBN. For too long, it has been allowed just to pervade, to just go on with it almost like with a reckless abandonment, where persons assume and they feel that your privilege or your rights, as you may assume, to call the station gives you a license to abuse and disrespect. So for those of you, yes, we provide a platform, but certainly everything has to be done within measure and respect for one another. 435-2041, that is a number that is on the inside, and certainly we say thanks to all our viewers wherever you are. Let's just see if we can get ourselves some comments coming via WhatsApp. This contributor says, the issue is that of lack of respect. While guns is a challenge, we need to look at the bigger issue. Some saying the issue of drug trade, human trafficking certainly it's an issue that needs to be brought onto the radar as well. We go back to the telephone lines. 9:29 minutes gone past the hour. Good morning, caller.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
You hearing me clearly?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
I hope I don't have any feedback because we have a few coasters outside by me and the engine is on. So I hope they understand.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
I want to speak a little on this lately that's coming into our island. I heard the Prime Minister say zero tolerance, and I want to agree with him 100%. Right? All your years you've been in gun fighting, you decide to retire in a peaceful country. I don't see the need of bringing in all these guns. The first time they arrest you, he said that this thing shipped down to him, he didn't even know if that was shipping to him. That shouldn't come down. So I wonder what is the next step now with this second batch, what alibi will give us this time. And sometime last week, a schoolboy and a woman had a confrontation, which she hit him, he hit her, they arrest him, and they put him on $10,000 bail. Look at this man, less than 2 months to hold that man with guns, and his bail is just like the young boy that violated the law without no guns, no wood, no knife, nothing. And man, $10,000 bill, and this man with his gun and $10,000 bill, what I say in violence in any way is violence.
Right.
But I find that man they arrest twice with gun should be on a bigger bill than this schoolboy with the $10,000 bill.
Okay, reason I can understand your argument. Thank you, caller. Another contributor, the question is being asked. What's driving the gun culture in Grenada? Is it drug trade, human trafficking / sex trade? Is it copycatting? And it's an excellent question, and because very often what is being looked at are the symptoms and not necessarily highlighting the problem. But certainly that would be an interesting conversation as to what in fact is driving that growing culture of the use of guns within our country. And certainly as time progresses, hopefully more information will be revealed. The authorities will become, of course, the PM hinting that he's adopting a zero tolerance approach, and maybe we'll make some progress as it relates to that. But we go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. Are you alive?
Oh, yes. Good morning to you. I heard you today.
I'm wonderful, thank you. And yourself?
Quite, you know.
Wonderful.
Do you have a special assignment this morning?
It's an open line, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'll tell you something. Something is bothering me very much that I didn't sleep last night. When the news was broke last night to me of a young lady who was working in the seed program for somewhere about 8 to 9 years to 10 years, and was sent home, I think somewhere about Friday. 6 children, not yet 40 years, 6 children, 3 in secondary school, 2 in the primary, and 1 in a small school. Home without a husband, without any other source of income, without a mother and a father, and home. I don't know how to classify this. I don't know circumstances, why she was sent home, but I understand that many of them are sent home. But I don't know how to classify this. It hurts me. I don't know how much it's hurting the young lady, but I know that is hurtful. How do you cope with such a situation now where young people is restless? They're committing small crimes and big crimes. The economy is not doing well. There is not much employment outside there. What will be the situation of that young lady and others? And there's another one with 6 children too. I'm struggling to understand what action what that person can do to deserve in that. A young person that we say we're trying to rescue. I don't care what political fence you might be on. It hurts. That should never happen. And I'm requesting of whoever, the state, to please find a place to put this young lady.
But you are trying to assert that it is politically, or it's politically tainted.
I believe it has some in it. I believe it has.
But do you know that for a fact? I'm just asking this broadly, because very often everything takes on a political tone. So I'm asking, what are the facts in the matter?
I want to believe it has some politics.
But that's what you would like to believe, but that's not factual.
That it has some politics. But I'm saying this lady is duly qualified. She has 8 important subjects. So it's not somebody who comes from the street and has nothing. She has 8 subjects, CXC, and good subjects. What's the cost that?
Fair, but I'm saying that you're asking the question, and what needs to be done is for us. I'm almost certain, for instance, you ask the question, and there are questions to be asked. Yes, what could be caused that? And it may just be that there might be legitimate reasons. I don't know, but maybe somebody out there, because very often if we try to do this thing, we try to address these on an individual basis, we try to address it, I want to put a blanket over it. Sometimes the answers may never ever come. But I don't think ever, I think the challenge is that when these things happen, is that very often it takes on a political tone, and it may or may not be. If it is, then I say that it needs to be remedied. But certainly, without knowing the facts, it is almost impossible to add anything to add to the conversation.
That is the reason why I am asking questions, and somebody has to zero. It's not one person, not 2 persons, not 3 persons. Somebody has to zero in on these things that is affecting young people in this time. And
I would agree with you, sir.
It is a very, very serious matter, and that must be looked into. That's a young person.
And I'm saying, and I agree with you, losing your job, young, old, whatever age of the spectrum they're on, I think anybody losing their job at any point in time is a cause for concern. I would not, though, in any way, I try to assert that it is for it's politically oriented or
I'm not saying that definitively, but I believe it has some political tone in that.
You keep believing that, okay?
That I know.
No problem.
But so I'm calling on the authorities. I'm calling to review this situation, because it's not one person. Review this, and that one in particular.
The one in particular that you know of. Have you spoken to her?
I know the particular lady.
No,
I know her very well.
Right, so
very calm.
Very
hardworking.
Have you spoken to her?
Every day, driving from bus to bus, doing her work, walking on the street in the hot sun. So I know, and I know the person, very committed young lady, very respectful, very humble.
No, but I'm asking, sir, what I'm asking humbly and in all honesty, have you had a conversation that relates to the terms and what exactly led to her termination?
I did ask questions, and she doesn't know.
She doesn't know. Okay, fair enough. Well, let's hope so. Certainly, if it is a case of an issue that needs to be reviewed, maybe it can be reviewed on an individual basis or holistically. But certainly, I'm assuming between one of the post-cabinet briefing on the sort, those matters, somebody would at least address those issues. And keep in mind that there are recourse within the Ministry of Labor to anyone who thinks, for any reason, that they have been victimized. The labor code is there, the ministry is there. So let's assume, as a recourse, she can take her situation, her argument, her case to somebody within the Ministry of Labor.
Let me say that again. Remember, we are dealing with a no wrestling youth population as a result of they not being able to get the Jew to find a way.
So
right?
maybe you might be in a position to assist.
Yes, I do from time to time. You don't know me. You may hear the voice from time to time. Yes, I do. I do look at somebody in the yard now. So I do my part.
Okay.
And that's why it hurts. I work in the system, I work in the private, I work in the government system, so I know it hurts I was a very committed worker,
okay.
So I know it hurts. And that should not happen. One has to think before I don't want to take too much time, but let me give you one situation before I go. I remember when the Honorable Basir Pandey took office from Mr. Manning. What he did then, and he had to downsize the public service, what he did, he ensured that he took care of all the loans and whatever commitment the workers had. Right? He paid this off. And then he gave them a nice package to go home. That was hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some get hundreds of thousands of dollars. Gave them a package to go. So that they able to start their life over again on the outside. You don't do that to people.
Well, yet, and I stand and agree with you holistically, but yet again, you keep hinting as though to suggest it is done deliberately, and it is political, and that's what I don't want us to get into without knowing the facts.
I believe it has some little political things there.
Okay.
It seems to have some political connections there.
No problem, sir.
But I'm not saying political, but I'm saying this situation should not happen at all. You don't do that to young people.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Somebody commit a crime? No.
Okay, no problem. Well, I'm with you. And very often we have this with subliminal way of trying to force points. We don't know, but yet we keep asserting that I think it is. What makes you think that it has any political undertones? Everybody's situation might be. I mean, if you're close to the situation, I would suggest that you see how best you can offer some assistance and get in the position of knowing. 20 minutes on to the hour in the morning time, that's of 10 o'clock. We'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back, right here on To The Point.
Rep your colors. Hot 98 presents the 473 Colors Boat Ride. Going down on Saturday, February 4th. Get your tickets now at GoToFed.com for only $65. Food included. Boarding time 7 p.m. The boat sails at 7:30. Music on board by the Hot 98 DJs plus other guest DJs.
Baby, calm down, calm down.
Rep your colors on the boat, cause this one here is gonna be epic. Lock the date, Saturday, February 4th. Hot 98 473 Colors Boat Ride. Don't you miss this.
It's time that we realize that we must work together to thrive as we know it, the sky and below it. Could I never have more wonder? Yeah, with life and all you see and the climate's changing.
But hope is remaining.
And we can't ignore the future. It depends on you and me. One chance, all that we got. One voice, together we start. Take care, the world where we live. Permite a todos vivir. Tomamos la oportunidad para guardar la humanidad. And I must leave no one behind because we are one climate, one Caribbean. One climate, one Caribbean.
Looking for that injection of vibes and energy, of course? Well, I've got just that. Hi, my name is Gary Mr. Smooth, and I'm inviting you to join me on the Hot Morning Show on Hot 98.5, 98.7 FM. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 in the morning. I've got a healthy dose of your favorite and most infectious hits sampled with information, news, laughter, and all the other ingredients that go into making the hottest morning show on the radio. The Morning Heat. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit us up on WhatsApp, 435-7517. We've got topics, we've got discussions, calls, voice notes, and so much more. But I can't tell you everything. You gotta tune in. The Hot Morning Show on Hot FM 98.5, 98.7 with yours truly, Gary Mr. Smooth. Kaboom!
17 minutes on to the hour of 10 o'clock in the morning time. Thank you and welcome back to the program. We have a caller that is on. Good morning, caller. You're alive.
President, good morning. I want to follow up on the the argument that the last caller was putting forward. Now, first of all, as far as I know, I don't know whether things have changed. I heard him saying a lady with 8 subjects, so many children in secondary school, etc., was dismissed. My question is, was that lady employed by Public Service Commission? One. And as far as I know, again, I'm saying I don't know whether things have changed. Things are changing, and not everybody in Grenada knows that this has changed and that has changed and the other has changed. Except where the lady probably might have been found, or the employee might have been found in, legal practices with money, etc. She could be fired immediately. But as far as I know, if public service, you're employed by Public Service Commission, all right, you don't just fire people like that. Again, I am going by what I hear. And as a result of this, the reason for asking this question, or making this statement, rather, that I've made. Are you aware?
No, I understand the point that you're making. That's why I keep asserting that each case must be judged on its own on its own merit, and it's a valid point that you make. I mean, you find, let's assume the person has a contract. What are the terms of the contract? And very often, without knowing those things, we assume that a person's termination of employment, that it takes a political undertone. The contract says that it is valid for, point one, for 1 year. Thereafter, it shall be reviewed. It may have specific terms and conditions. And that's why I keep saying, if anyone, that's what labor is there for. If you think that your rights have been violated, then there are recourse, there are different avenues that can be taken. But without the facts, it's almost like you're creating a media firestorm by just saying, well, I think it is. So the point you make, sir, it is quite valid, and certainly we would hope that as a people, we would put ourselves in the know as to what exactly contains before we say, well, X, Y, and Z. But while I understand anybody losing their job, it is a heart-rending thing. The question begs to be asked, what are the terms, the facts related to the story? So thank you for your contribution, sir.
Before you go off, sir, another thing that I'm questioning, if an individual is legally qualified, have their subject, etc., why is it, and this was done by the former government, such a person must be employed on contract? Where is this coming? Where is there a law made? I'm not understanding something other, except this has some political leanings, etc., and as a result, all right, and even though that is so, something is wrong somewhere. Something is wrong somewhere, and this is not the policy to adapt. It gets other young people, this heavy, and all the rest of it, and they figure, well, all right, what's the point? And you might be in a situation where you can't say leave the island, you're out. What is this thing about contract, so and so, on a contract? I'm not understanding.
Well, the issue of contract work is one that has been placed under the microscope by the various unions, and of course, it's something that they've raised issues with, and some may argue contract, no contract. And if you ask me, is the issue a matter of contract, or is it the terms and conditions under which you work that is prescribed by the contract? Because an individual may have a contract, and the contract may just offer them some pretty good offerings as compared to some other arrangement. So, as I said, I think it makes a bigger conversation. The contract issue, is it legal? Is it illegal? What contains therein? But I think, as I said, we will continue to dissect the issues, and certainly at some point in time, we can meet each other at a point of equilibrium. But thank you for your comments, your contribution, sir. 10 is about 12 minutes on to the hour in the morning time. This is To the Point for today, the 18th day of the month of January. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller.
Morning again, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Just over a month ago, I made a bold statement on this radio station in the early morning program. And I said I said it to back up the proposal that the senator representing the farmers put in, where he suggests that there should be a government fund to compensate the farmers for periodial ASIMI losses. That the courthouse is one of the places in this country that government collect close to the amount of money that the port normally collect. And we know that the port basically collect just about the most money in government revenue. And I'm very convinced of that. For years I've been talking about it, that the court collects so much money that it's a very easy thing to have the money that goes to the court, set up that fund for the period and the losses in farmers' situation.
Right.
When the previous government, hired the traffic warden, I said straightforward that these people are designed, or this work is designed, to pay the very people who get those jobs in it. And I got proof of it sometime after, and I'll tell you the story. I was in the presence of a corporal of police and a traffic warden. The corporal told the traffic warden lady the morning that you're taking too long to finish that ticket book. You need to finish that book by 9 o'clock today. You get it? You got the point I'm making? This whole thing is designed for collection of monies to go into the government coffers. So still at the courthouse, which is, it passed through the courthouse, because when you are charged, you get a ticket, you have to go to the court and so on to pay. So it kind of conformed to my mind, and if people are hearing it, I think it plainly says that there is that whole idea of money collected by the police, whoever auxiliary forces it in the police force and so on. There is enough money being collected that could pay the farmers for the period losses.
And with that being said, so let me ask you, can an officer of the law, whether a police traffic warden, can they arrest you or charge you if you have not committed an infringement against the law?
Well, not they could. I mean, but if you could prove that they have done it wrongly, then you could win your case.
No, sir, and it's in that context I'm asking, because you seem to suggest as though a traffic warden and a police officer would just wantonly decide to charge you, and if you think that's why the case goes before the court, and so I'm saying, if an officer is charging you, then it means you must have created there must have been some indictment, some infringement against the law. And if it's then within the discretion of the officer or the traffic warden to ticket or not ticket.
But because you have so much vehicles in this road, on our roads.
But you understand the point that they're making.
Yeah,
unless you're wanting to suggest that police officers can just, unless there's a bigger scheme, I mean, and that I find kind of difficult to believe, because when in fact you can go to the court and the court will then hear your case. Can hear your case. You make your argument.
But the police is very conscious that process in our situation, in our system, can be used to make a lot of money.
Well,
that's what the officer was trying to tell she had to finish the book by. So let's say she had 100 tickets on the book.
Okay, sir.
And she still had 40. She have to find reasons and occasion to charge traffic people in the traffic.
And while I'm not discounting,
that's the kind of problem I think we have in this country.
Why I'm not discounting what you may have heard, that incident may not necessarily represent a general policy, a government policy. But thank you though for your contribution.
Take care, sir.
Okay, all the best to you. 7 minutes on to the hour in the morning time. We have just about enough time to engage and entertain one last caller in the morning. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You are live.
Good morning. I was trying to get on yesterday to Pancho, but I didn't get through. In relation to the marketing board, the political leader asks people for their opinion. Now, if I was him, you see, he came, and before he asked people, before people gave their opinion, he came with their mindset already to give 3 different options. Now, what he should have done, there was an investigation in the marketing board, probably just do a little idea of what happened and give us a little financial rundown. Then open the floor and ask people for their suggestions. He should have had island-wide consultation because as far as I know, it's only 3 announced and 3 so far. They have farmers. What about farmers in St. David's? What about farmers in Sotiers? Island-wide, and including the agro-processors who in Grenville spoke about it. They wasn't consulted.
Right.
But he didn't do that. All he did, he was come and at the opening of all sessions, just put 3 options on the table. That is pushing down people. That is pushing down people's throat, and that is a form of due respect to everybody with no malicious intent. That is deception. Because what he should have done, the operator board is consultation. Maybe
right.
should, and those guys and those farmers and them really have some good ideas because I listen to the GIS program and so on, and all of them, even in Karakum, they wanted a representative on the board for marketing board. What you should have done to the goodly gentleman, you say consultation. I just can't go to a doctor like that, and when I reach a doctor, say I have the cold and how you treat me. No, you're wrong. You
right.
should have a broad consultation, island-wide, and after the consultation, come up and say, these are the 3 things that we have to do. But don't just come up with you don't have your mind made up already. That's what Pancho was saying, and I was trying to tell you I agree with Pancho, with due respect to all. I mean, that's pushing things down people's throat. That's not consultation. That's not consultation.
Okay.
Consult people and go through the whole process, and then you put everybody's ideas together, and then you come up with a position.
Thank you, caller. Well said.
All right.
All the best. Have yourself a great day. 5 minutes on to the hour in the morning time. This is, as far as I can take, is Journey's End for today. The program for today, the 18th day of the month of January. Indeed, it's a pleasure it was a pleasure being here with you, to all the listeners and viewers, wherever you are. Reminding you that, as I encourage you every day, to find the best version of yourself. Reminding you that yesterday's all gone. It's never to return. Tomorrow is yet to come. We call it the future. What do we have? Today. It is with us. It's the present. Let's unveil our package and see what contains therein and make the best use of it. Until then, have yourself a really, 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 really great Wednesday, and keep doing all you have to do to be as good as you can to yourself. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.